Ms. B, you got me. You got me. Well, welcome back to Breakthrough, everyone. My name is Tez. On the other side, we have Misbah. And today we're going to talk about a topic that more or less a question that's been asked to us quite often. And we thought we'd address it on the podcast here. And that question is, why is it so hard to be successful? It's a very interesting question and a very interesting topic to talk about. Miss is going to start out here with his thoughts on this question, and then we'll kind of elaborate throughout the video of what we think you could do, things we can help you with along the process of making that road just a tad bit easier than it probably currently is, or for your newcomers that haven't tried to start any type of maybe a business or just being successful at your employer that you're at. So we'll kind of cover all of these things in this video today. So Ms. Mutt, go ahead and start out on your thoughts on that question of why is it so hard to be successful?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jez. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to Breakthrough. The topic here that we have today, success. It's a very broad topic, and I think to be successful, essentially, you got to have a plan. You got to have a roadmap to be successful. This is maybe primarily one of the main reasons why a lot of people fail, whether it's business, whether it's a job, whatever they are doing, is they don't have a roadmap laid out. They don't have a plan, that allows them to focus properly. Focus and planning go hand in hand. If you have a plan, you will be able to focus. So having a clear set of goals of what you want to achieve, having a very clear mindset towards what you're going to achieve is probably the number one thing, according to me, when you're starting off or you're doing something. You're an entrepreneur, you're somebody, you're doing a 9-to-5 job, that's fine, and you want to be better at your job, you got to have a roadmap. What do you think, Tez?
Yeah, the key to what you were saying about having a plan, and a plan can consist of a lot of things. And what it can consist of is, let's just say that your plan is to wake up tomorrow, get to work on time, knock out the 5 first things that you have on your schedule within a certain amount of time. That's a plan. Or as an entrepreneur, you are going to wake up tomorrow, you're going to send out your social media post, and your goal is to have 10 of them in a day, or 10 of them within 3 hours, or whatever your goal is. That's a plan. One thing you don't want to work on is not having a plan. You do not want to work not having a plan, because it consists of a lot of wasted efforts, a lot of wasted time, a lot of not having a solid base in general when you don't have a plan, because statistics come from having a plan of some sort. That's how you get your statistics within being an entrepreneur, or let's just say that you want to get a raise at your employer that you currently have. Well, you have a plan to get that raise. You have a plan to gain more customers if you're an entrepreneur. So it's very important to have a plan going. And success in general, there's huge success. Equally, there's little amounts of success. And they both can be as beneficial, whether it's a small amount of success, whether it's a huge amount of success. And it all consists of what your plan is. That's the key. It's what your plan is. We know when you wake up, and as I'm sure you can attest to this, when you wake up in the morning, your morning rituals or whatever you do when you get up in the morning, after that, the rest of your day is on your mind. Is that correct? What are
Exactly.
you going to do the rest of the day? Exactly. And what are you going to do the rest of the day to be more successful than you were yesterday? That's a
Mhm.
plan. Am I right, Miz? Is that a plan?
Exactly. Not to cut you off, but you just pointed out a very important aspect of planning, that is evaluation. How you were before, how you were yesterday, how you were a month ago, how you were 6 months ago, whatever, however your breakdown is, however your breakdown of your plan is, you gotta evaluate every day, every month, every week. That's very important. That's key, so that you don't repeat the mistakes that you have made the last week, the last month, the last 6 months. And that's where this is why planning is overall very important. When you have a plan, you have the milestones, you know the steps that you need to take, and you got to be very specific with your plan. You got to be very specific with your plans. You got to know what you're doing on a certain day in a week. That's how specific you should be. That's what the motivational trainers, highly successful people, that's what they say, that they have a very specific plan that they follow. And that includes what they are going to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, if they're working the weekends, Saturday, Sunday. So what do you think? This is what I
Yeah.
think.
So the question is, why is it so hard to be successful? It's not that it's hard to be successful. It's as hard as you make it on yourself. That's how hard it is. It's as hard as you make it on yourself. If you don't have a plan,
Definitely.
if you don't know what you're doing, if you're not passionate in whatever it is you're trying to do, and you don't know the statistics behind whatever it is you're trying to do, then you just made that a lot harder on yourself. Because it's a reason why people say, which is it's a broad range, or this is something that's always said around the world, and you tell me if this is incorrect, is you work smarter, not harder.
That's a very
Making it,
important strategy.
have you heard that?
Yeah, that,
I'm sure
I have.
everyone has heard that. Yeah, so you work harder and not smarter, which means that it goes back to what Misbah was just saying. That's why you need a plan. A plan consists of everything you need to know to get to step 2, to step 3, to step 4, and not go back to step 3, 2, and 1, but continue on to 5, 6, 7, because you're learning what works and what does not work. And that falls in the aspect of life in general. Would you
Mhm.
agree?
Yeah, definitely. That is related to pretty much every aspect of a person's life. You know, um, since uh, kindergarten, primary school, we are taught to plan. We have our day as a kid break down into specific periods. That's why this is a reason why we learn that at a very early age, and this is the reason why schools you know think that this is so important to teach the kids so that they can apply that later in their life. So this pretty much goes um, to every aspect. And as you said, I was just rethinking about the thing that you just said, which is about working smart and not hard. Now that's a great point, because if you don't have a plan, you will just go ahead and keep working, and you might end up putting in efforts and time in something that you might not have otherwise done if you had a good plan. And that's
Absolutely.
why
Absolutely.
that's why doing it smartly is very important. So you gotta, if you have a budget, you gotta spend it smartly. You can't just spend all of it on one thing, and then you're just scratching your head thinking, what do I do now? So
Well,
exactly. So this is why, and this is, plan. Again, they are related. Focus, planning, and smart work. They are kind of interconnected. You can't do smart work without planning, and you can't focus without planning. So I
Absolutely.
guess when you start putting the building blocks right, it kind of starts building up. Would you agree?
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. I do agree. And just think about our situation for a second. If we think about that, right?
Mhm.
We know how we connected and collaborated with each other. We know all of those things.
Yes.
But at the moment that we wanted to start being entrepreneurs together, we evaluated, we found out what the idea was,
Mhm.
and then we planned, right? And how
Right.
did we do that? I'm going to give you a financial situation of Misbah and I. I'm not going to dive deep into any statistics of our financial situation, but I'm going to say this. How did we plan this, right? Because you need, as I said in the first video, you need a financial backing when you're building a business, right? So we both know that. So what happened was we generated a business, an idea, all of those things. And the plan was, Misbah, when we get to a certain point, you're going to not have your 9 to 5, and you'll be doing this full time, right? You'll be covering this avenue of the business full time. While I still had a day job at the time, right?
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
still was working on the business when I wasn't at my day job, right? That was our plan. And then when you get to the next step at this part, then we both start working the business full time, right? That's a plan. That's a plan of action. That's working smarter and not harder. That's knowing exactly what you want to do, at what step, and you conquer it at that point. But most people, whenever they build a business or have a little bit of success, they just go all out. They just go all out. They quit the job, they're doing it full time because they're making a little bit of money now. And the next thing you know, the most important thing happens, which they say in business all the time: the first year
Mhm.
is a struggle. The first year is very hard. So don't be a victim of a little bit of success. Do not do that, because
Mhm.
you'll be back to square one very quickly. Is this correct, Ms.?
It's very, very true. Indeed, it's coming from our experience as well. Like the first few ideas that we had, that's how you build up. So it's very important. It's vital that you evaluate how much success you have received, and is that success enough to, so you can go all out. You just can't go all out right away. You got a plan. That's again coming back to the plan. You got a plan. You will have a roadmap. Once you have a roadmap, that's going to help you, build on that little success that you just had, and you will going to evaluate that little success, and based on that, you're going to create a roadmap to be higher, going higher, 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 ultimately, where you want to be ideally. So that's, I guess, it sounds very simple. It really sounds simple, but yes, when you set out and start to do it, there are a lot of different aspects that we will discuss moving on in our next episodes. But planning, having some sort of a plan is very important, and as specific as you can be, that's again very important.
Yeah. Making money whenever you want to be successful, because everybody correlates success with money. Money is an example of being successful, right?
Hmm.
If a person has a lot of money, they tend to be successful. That's just what happens. So when you are successful, it's a it's a art behind that. It's an art behind being successful and making a lot of money. It's not something that you just wake up and you want to do and it just happens. That it doesn't work that way. And most people might say, well, Tez, duh, we know that. I don't have any money and I want it. So that you're not telling me anything that I didn't know. But
Yeah,
something so small like that can be forgotten. That is
and
the
can be the
problem.
difference. Sorry to cut you out. It can be the
Absolutely.
difference. Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you have people that say, well, I just made 100,000, or I just made 200,000, or I just made millions doing this, millions doing that. Believe me, there are a lot of minds behind that person just walking out doing whatever they're doing in their niche and making 100,000. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that are creating this art, that are creating this platform for whoever that may be to make all of that money. And it starts with, as we just said, a plan. So it's not about why is it so hard to be successful. It's about, don't make it harder on yourself when you plan to be successful.
Exactly.
And and I'll pass it back to you here after this, Ms. Let's just say, like, in my time of building businesses, whether they were successful, whether they failed, you meet a lot of people when you're doing things like that, right? Because you got to reach out to people. So your book of people of contacts that you have, it grows. And as you go, you hear other people's stories of whether they were successful, did something work for them when it didn't work for them. And a lot of times you hear one thing is they had a great idea, but they didn't see it through. And they don't see it through because they didn't have the solid foundation in the beginning that they needed. Exactly. And they didn't see progress, because when you more or less you're going rogue in a business venture and you don't have a plan, 1 month you're doing great, next month you're not doing so well, next month you're doing great, next 6 months you're doing horrible, and you can't go back on what worked and what did not work because you didn't have a plan in the first place. And then when you now got to start back over, and if you're not right back where you were when you first started, where you were making money, it may not be a lot, but you were making money, you don't see it through this time because you want to be where you were at today. So now you've done what? You've made it harder on yourself to be successful. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does indeed. And these little things, again, as Tess said, not having a strong base, that you are cutting yourself out right there. Your roots are not there to start with if you don't have a plan. And what you said, Tess, about there's a team behind a successful person, a successful business. That takes us to a very good point that you should not try to do everything alone. You
Absolutely.
should never be you should never try to do everything on by yourself. There's always people that you would need alongside you to lessen your burden, and finding the right people is as important to any company's success. So if you are an entrepreneur and you're just starting out, another great advice is team up with someone if you're teaming up or partnering up, or look for people who can work for you, under you, alongside you, that can help you move on towards your goal. Because almost all of the time, nobody can do everything on their own. Whatever you're looking at a movie, you're looking at a video, podcast, there are a lot of things going on the back end. So that's, there's video editing, there's if it's a movie, there's audio editing, video editing, animations, a lot of things, director. That's just a very broad example. But if you take an example of a business, there are workers that might not be the face of the business that you're following or that you're looking at, but they are a major part of the success. So starting out, you should try to delegate tasks that may hinder your way towards success. So you should team up. You should get help when needed.
Yeah, everybody wants to quit. And I'm not going to say 9 to 5. I'm going to say first shift, second shift, third shift, because not everybody works 9 to 5. It's a generalized statement. I would say first, second, and third, because that pretty much covers everybody's shifts at a job. Everybody wants to quit. People go to work every day and
Mhm.
they hate what they're doing at that employer. And the first thing they think is, well, I wish I could be doing this, wish I could be doing this, or I wish I was doing anything but this, what I'm currently doing. But they never take a step toward any of those goals that they're thinking at that time. Because what happens? You hate your job all day long, right? And you want to be successful, or you want to be an entrepreneur, or whatever the case may be. But once 5:30, 5 p.m., or whatever time you get off work, once you leave the job, you're no longer thinking about those ideas anymore, because you're just happy to be free away from your employer. Now you can go do whatever the things that you want to do, whether whatever that may be. But that is the vital time right there, where you've planned all day in your mind about what you would be doing if you weren't at this employer. And when you get off at that point, that's where you execute that plan. If it's an hour that you spend on it, that's time that you've spent on your plan. If it's 30 minutes, that's 30 minutes that you've spent on your plan. And over time, those increments of time, they add up, and you've now created a solid base for your business. And now you can be serious about wanting to quit that employer, because you're actually doing something to help you reach that goal. And that's what happens to a lot of people. They stay in a rut all the time. Is because they always wish they could be doing something and not actually going to go do it, not actually taking the steps toward releasing them from whatever hole they're in, or whatever employer they may not want to be at. So it all goes back to the same thing. Why is it so hard to be successful? It's just people walk every day around this world making it harder on themselves, and they don't even know it. I mean, have you ever seen that or felt that way before, Ms. Mo?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people, they have, I mean, a lot of people have great ideas, trust me, but
Mhm.
they just don't have the mindset, as you said. I mean, they get off the shift, the day shift, and they're just too happy about getting off the shift and
Mhm.
getting on with their life. And this also brings us to another point, that you should always invest time and effort into something that you actually enjoy doing. I mean, if you do that, you are like 20, 30, maybe more percent in your way towards success, because you would be naturally inclined towards something you like. But anyways, coming back to the shift point. So you got to develop, everybody has to develop a growth, a success mindset. And that involves, as you said, investing in time. Time is money, as they say, and it's precious. So when you get off you have a great idea, you get off your daily shift, 9 to 5, 9 to 6, I don't know, whatever time it is. You start working on your idea right then and there, whenever you
Mhm.
have time. You take care of family. It has to be a balance. You got to take care of your family, you got to take care of your house, you got to take care of your children. There are a lot of things that you got to do, but you got to balance everything. And then you got to have, basically it comes down to the mindset. If you want to be successful, you will have to create that success mindset, that will involve planning, focusing, teaming up with the right people, and you know investing in the right places. All of those things are very important. So whenever you have time, if you have a day job and you have a great idea, you want to start something of your own, make use of the time that you have in hand, as soon as possible, and whenever you get time.
Mhm.
That's
You know,
imperative.
y- absolutely. You
Mhm.
know, the word busy, busy, I'm busy, I'm busy, right? You
Mhm.
have all these people. It's just like, oh, I'm too busy to do this. I'm too busy to do that. I'm too busy to do this. I'm too busy to do that. That word busy is interesting because You never should be too busy for your dream. You never should be too busy to be successful.
Mhm.
You don't have to, as you just stated, there's a lot of people out here with families. They are legitimately busy. They get off work. They got all of these things they have to do. But you never should be too busy for your dream, for your success, because it doesn't require 24 hours. It requires whatever time you can give it when you have it. That's what it requires, right?
Exactly.
That's when you should be utilizing your time and working smarter and not harder. If you have 20 minutes a day to work on your dream or your business, that's more than enough time because that's all the time you have to give. And you should be planning for few in the future to turn that into 21 minutes, 22 minutes, 23 minutes,
Mhm.
and so on, right? And you know that that's a plan and you start being more successful because you're generating more free time than you didn't have before. So I've and another thing that surrounds about the word busy is the company you keep is very important,
Very
right?
important.
Very important because if you surround yourself around people that in the same boat as you or maybe lower, you tend to stay there, right? You tend to hang out there for a while because there's no motivation to move you beyond that point. You're your only motivation. And it goes back to what you said. You got to have people around you. You just don't try to do everything yourself. Well, that's why you have to broaden the people around you, the company you keep. You have to have people in your presence that maybe they're doing a lot better than you. But the more you hang around that person, you start to learn things you didn't know and how to be more successful. And it goes back to what I said, even a little bit of success is better than no success, right? And it may be something on a scale of you had a crappy car, you have a friend that has a really nice car, has a nice job. The more you hang around that person, he's probably going to tell you how he got to that point, right? How he got there. And you can always utilize that knowledge from the next person. So it's the company you keep and it's the word busy. Those are very, very interesting things to think about. Well, what do you think? Have you fell in line with something like that before, Mizwa?
Yes, indeed. The company that you keep kind of defines a lot of things in your life. If you have a bad company, you will end up with something bad. That's for sure. I mean, that's just how it works. People naturally are like that. They learn from others, whether it's good or bad. And if you gotta be successful, that's a great point there, Tez, that you gotta surround yourself with people who also have the success growth mindset. They want to be successful, or are successful already in whatever way they think or they want to be successful. That's very important. And also the word busy that you said, that just brought me another kind of point to discuss, and that is, being busy on the right stuff is very important. You can be busy
Mhm.
with a lot of stuff. I mean, you could be busy doing something that's not important. That's being busy, but that's not going to bring you success. That's not going to bring you success.
Mhm.
But you're still busy. Nobody is saying that you're not busy, but you got to put your time and effort in the right places. That's another key point that I think that I'm also myself is working on, to be honest. That's
Mhm.
something that everybody should work on. Um, putting your efforts and time, uh, and money, if you're investing in the right places. Otherwise you would still be, sweating, but you won't be getting the results, and that would be a bad thing.
Absolutely correct. So as we spoke about this topic
Mhm,
can go on forever because everybody's journey is different in
mhm,
life. Everybody's journey is different, and everybody does different things on different scales in life. But it all surrounds itself around a plan, as we stated in the beginning. It's all a plan. Every successful person had a plan. at some point, and probably have an even bigger plan at this point. We have a plan. And as you just said, you're working on it yourself. Well, so am I. We're always working to be better, maybe better people, maybe better in business, maybe better at being successful, but you have to have a plan for that as well. So just also surrounds itself about a plan. So the question of why is it so hard to be successful? I'm simply going to say it's not that it's hard. It's not that it's hard. Reiterating what I'm just saying. You're just making it harder on yourself when you don't have a solid base and a solid plan. And most of all, you need motivation because everybody's day doesn't allow them to do something that doesn't bring them some sort of success. And what I mean is when you go to work, you're not being successful unless that job is what you want to be successful at. If you go to work to that job, you don't want to be there, well, that's not a successful move for you. That's just a smart move for you to be able to afford your bills, your day-to-day life, right? But it's not, it's your end game, your success end game. So when you go to work, you're not doing anything successful there because you don't want to be there. When you go home, and let's just say that you sit and you watch TV the rest of the night, when really you could have been working on your plan, right? Or you could have multitasked. You could be looking at TV, working on your plan, looking at TV, working on your plan. But really motivated people, they do more than just plan at work because they don't want to be there. They plan when they're doing something fun as well, which is being off work. They're still planning. They're still working. Those are your successful people because we can have fun later, right, Ms.? We have fun later. We party later.
Yeah.
After we've been successful and made, we party then. But right now we're going to work. Is that correct? We're going to work.
That would be a much bigger party, trust me.
Yeah, it would
You
be.
would rather have a
It
bigger
would be.
party than a smaller one. So yeah, so I think you have summarized it pretty nicely, Tez. It's being successful is not hard. It's just how you set out to be, how your mindset is. If you have a good mindset and you have a routine, routine, maybe we can discuss this in our next videos, why a routine is very important. But having a routine and having a successful mindset, surrounding yourself with successful people or people you think can help you move towards a goal, and having a plan, as we have been saying in this video. So I think those are all the key components to be successful. If you do that right, you will be successful. I mean, there is no doubt in anyone's mind that you won't be. So, and doing this, or in order to do all of this, you gotta be disciplined. You have to be organized. Yes, you gotta be organized. If you're not, you have to be. And if that's hard, then you just gotta do that, because otherwise you won't get anywhere unless you do that. Simple.
Correct. So guys, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the video here. Just have a plan. Just we gotta be motivated. You gotta be disciplined. You gotta have all of these things under your belt. There's no shortcuts. It's the street's just long. There's no shortcuts. You got to go the same way everybody else goes, and you got to stay motivated. When things aren't going well, stay motivated. When it's not going your way, stay motivated. Everybody's had failures. You're looking at Misbah, who's had failures. You're looking at Tez, who's had failures. We've all had failures, but we overcame those failures, and that's why we're sitting here in this position we are today. So unless you have anything else, Misbah, that you wanted to speak about.
No, I think we should wrap this up. And the only thing I would say is ups and downs are part of any journey and any successful journey. So they're just part of it. You have to deal with them. You have to keep getting better. You have to keep getting better. That's it.
Absolutely. So thanks again, guys, for watching. We didn't want to make the video too specific to someone's situation, just more of a broad range. So we wanted to cover a lot of avenues on this video. So we do appreciate you watching. We will be back next week with another video on another topic, and we'll be speaking about it. Thanks again. You guys enjoy the rest of your night.